This is DG Chichester, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Welcome back to another month of the Chichester Chats. It's me, Phil. Lilith is here.
Hello.
Justin the Owl. Woohoo! On brand. And of course, he has to be here. His name's on the product. It is Mr. DJ Chichester.
I will start hiring some ringers to show up in my stead. I like franchise myself.
I was going to say Greg Wright is going to have a paper mask of Dan on his face, on his head.
I will franchise myself like the Urban Cowboy, and sort of send it out there. Good to see everybody. Thanks for having me back.
You too.
Hey, great to always speak with you. And it's that time of year again. It's Daredevil season.
Yes.
Well, I'll be skipping it this year. I canceled my Disney, so I'll have to. I'll have to find other ways to indulge.
Are they releasing those on Blu-ray or DVD at all? Those seasons?
Don't know. I mean, they seem to be so all in on streaming. I don't see a lot of the streaming shows going to other things since they can't control you that way. So
right, exactly.
You can't censor it if they wanted to censor.
Right.
I know when it was on Netflix, they released those.
Season 1 was on Blu-ray, right?
What, Born Again?
The Netflix one or the Born Again one?
No, the Disney one. I could have
sworn
it was.
Okay.
I'm about to look that up. Again, it's always control versus, can the mouse make more money?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, that
Disney
used to be the
Plus
way.
is going to be going under in the next 2 years, so eventually we'll get everything on Blu-ray. But...
Oh.
Well, that used to be
streaming's
the
not
Disney...
profitable. Everybody's realizing it's a Ponzi scheme, so just saying. Heads up.
Just saying.
Not financial advice.
Or is Paramount just buying everyone up?
Well, there's other reasons
we'll
for
see
that.
how long that lasts as well.
Yeah, once the debt to whatever profit ratio that is actually analyzed. And I know nothing about finance, but I could even see that.
Yeah.
Private equity will destroy us all. That's all I have to say about it.
But that's the way Disney used to make, oodles of money. Was they would, they would release things and then put them back in the vault.
Yeah,
that was the model for the longest time. Was something would come out either in the theater, and then it would go back in the vault, or it would come out on DVD for a limited time. Then it would go back in the vault, build up this demand. And then they've lost that, with everything being, so available that it's well, okay, do I really, there's no initiative or, push to watch it in the same way. I don't feel, but.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Wow, large corporations are making money. Wow.
Sadness.
Oh, the humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, corporations are people, allegedly. So, yeah.
Oh, allegedly.
Yes.
United.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. But yes, we are here today to talk some Daredevil. Daredevil 301 through 303. Written
Look
by
at those covers.
Someone. Yeah.
I love it.
Weeks was rocking it, as always.
Oh yeah, especially that middle one. That needs to be a poster or something.
So good.
Yeah.
No, it's
great
all
stuff.
good. It's great grounding of the character, the figure, the body language, everything about it. So, but this, he left the book, so I don't care about him anymore. Dead to me, that Lee Weeks.
Oh man, he didn't forgive you for Daredevil forgiving the Kingpin.
That's exactly
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You're not gonna let me get the line I want. I'm out. That was
Deal breaker. Yeah.
All right, so what was the impetus for this story? Again, this is the right after Kingpin goes down, and you're just like, okay, now what?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's an interesting story to revisit. Spoiler alert for folks who haven't like done the assignment and looked up the story. In the meantime, the Kingpin's been broken down, as in the famous Daredevil 300. So this power vacuum is there. So
All the freaks come out.
all the freaks come out, and a reborn, regurgitated, I guess, being an owl and a raptor. Leland Owlsley, seemingly steps in to try to, fill some of that power vacuum and assert some authority. But he's been, like not quite mutated, but changed over time, through the things he's done to his body to gain his powers. And so we get a very broken man, trying to maintain his prior stature, and dignity, I think, so it's actually, I didn't have great impressions of the story in my mind, but as often we do when we revisit these, I actually found it a pretty good story, and kind of like the pathos, about the owl works well. Now it has some interesting flaws that could have been easily sort of corrected, and they're not all on me for a change. So, but I think it was always that thinking, okay, once the Kingpin's out, what now, right? That's an enormous gap to fill. And so, there was some logic, I think, to, bring in an established villain, but trying to treat him differently. But that's not 100% successful here, for a couple different reasons that we can get into, I think.
And I mean, yeah, you got Lee Week's covers, but you were working with, was it MC Wyman for this arc?
MC Wyman, who, again, looking at it, and I don't know what other stuff he did, beyond this. If this was I'm not familiar with his work, beyond this. I mean, there's decent storytelling, I think, throughout. But I do remember infamously, the opening scene, or one of the opening scenes, where Daredevil's, chasing, that.
The drug
coke dealer, the drug dealer,
Yes,
who's hidden the drugs inside his body.
Say.
Which was just an excuse for the owl to be able to cut him open later, I guess. But when I got the first pages back, and this is kind of like the editorial weirdness of this issue. There's a couple times this sort of shows up, and I love this editorial team. But the page I got in, when Daredevil like throws the door open, to the cab, and he pulls the cabbie out before the guy can get shotgunned. The page that came in, Daredevil is literally ripping the door off the cab, as if he's got like Captain America plus level strength. And I called the guys up at the office and said, what's going on here? And it's like, so they kind of just sent the pages on to me, without calling MC Wyman, on it. And MC Wyman didn't really know the character, it turned out. And he just assumed, well, he's a superhero, so he must have super strength. And
wow.
So it was a little bit of a weird, start to that minor thing, and obviously got fixed, visually. But that was a little bit of an odd mix. But I think overall his storytelling's pretty good, and his visuals are pretty good. And of course I don't have the plots anymore to know what was in there, but I'll take the blame for it. But what I would have liked to have seen, I think, is a much better visual on the owl. And so I'm not blaming him for it, because I don't know that I would have indicated it. But I think this would have been an opportunity for, obviously we were doing a lot of stuff with the owl, with the eye system and the exoskeleton and the claws and things. But I think the look of him could have been upgrade it somewhat. Not that he would get, black armor or something, but I mean, my one answer to everything: give him armor. But something to sort of
like more terrifying, like more like you can tell
more
him
mutated or more,
more texture to the costume, perhaps than just the big flowy thing. Something that would have indicated, more, because you just had this, the old look, and yet some terrifying and strange additions and powers, as he's trying to kind of correct for the mutations that are, going on inside him. And I think that might have helped, distinguish some, visually distinguish certain things about the character, and made him more effective.
Maybe
classic Al.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, for me, reading this as it was coming out, even as a kid, it kind of presented to me as, oh, hey, Leland Owlsley is mutating, but he's trying to present the image of, oh, hey, this is Leland Owlsley, business as usual. But meanwhile, internally, it's not.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like maybe he's trying to present, it's like, oh yeah, I'm the successor of the Kingpin, so he's trying to dress as the mob boss of old, even though things
that's valid. I mean, and that I think tracks well with his inner monologue and his recaps of what he's been through. So yeah, I mean, as you're taking it from a very informed reader point of view and your initial reaction, maybe from when you first saw the issue. So I think that's valid too. But I think I could have leaned into that even more, thinking about it. It does get acknowledged a little bit, but I think it could have been a stronger, adding more even to that sort of emotional weight by acknowledging that, the sort of thing of the person who's, fallen on shabby times, but, straightens the lapel on the old jacket, and,
right.
Tries to make the thing still fit, right. That kind of thing a little bit
still
more.
have their dignity after all.
Yeah. Or trying to pretend that it's there.
Right. Yeah.
But, I mean, a lot was going on here because, again, this was like, Foggy and Matt are back in business finally after how long? Like, literally years.
Nice fancy office in World Plaza,
Yes.
Yeah, I made that deal with Kathy Mulper to take down the Kingpin. Yeah.
That was weird. That was a weird, like foreshadowing. Like I picked that building out because it was a new skyscraper, in Manhattan at the time. And I remember going up, and it was going up on the edge of Hell's Kitchen, and it was kind of still in no man's land. And that skyscraper was like the only thing like in that area. And years later, when comics were no longer friendly to me, and I got my, my second job in advertising, it was in that building.
Oh wow!
That's cool.
Yeah, it wasn't it. It's like that's where the headquarters of Ogilvy and Mather were at the time, and so that was just this weird, like of all the buildings,
like Matt Murdock over here.
Yeah. So it was definitely like an interesting thing. Wait, I know this building. There's his office. What's going on?
And we get the mention of Chekhov's Wolfpack.
Yes.
Wolfpack.
Again,
yeah.
Thanks to New York Newsday, who always.
I knew I was going to was that a real story?
Yep, that was a real story. There was a guy breeding like German Shepherd Wolf hybrids on the roof and wherever it was, Queens, wow. And so it's another one of those things that just kind of got filed away, and I don't know what to do with this, and then it became this. Total foreshadowing. Yeah. As you say, don't show the gun in the first act don't show the wolf in the first act unless you're going to release them in the third. And so that, that moment kept coming up, but it was a good moment, but that's why you store those things away. I think you don't always know where they're going to be useful, but on its own, it wouldn't have been much of a story, but as a way to sort of, suddenly shift the balance, of the battle, as it were. It worked out, pretty well. Not for Leland, of course, but for the story.
And we got our sassy female corner, who I thought we were going to see more of, which I don't think we did.
Yeah, me too. I mean, listen, I don't know what neurons were misfiring in my brain, many times over the years, but yeah, she was a pretty interesting character, and so is Leland again. Like, what was up with me that I do this 3-part story, and it's, and Daredevil sort of, literally rescues this guy and says, I'm not going to leave you alone, and I never go back to him ever, and that's bad, and that's what I meant editorially. Like, I don't, and I have major respect for Ralph Macchio, huge respect, but it is the kind of thing that if I put my editorial hat on, I would have, said, Dan, okay, Dan, what's next? Like, you set this up, and yet you don't ever come back to him. You leave him out there, and I don't know that anybody was clamoring for me to go back to him, but in my evolved thinking about Murdoch and Daredevil and especially the compassion side of him and the redemptive side of him, why wouldn't have that been something where maybe the owl becomes an ally of sorts, kind of, and shift, right, or just sort of
feeding him information or something,
right, or he's operating in some way, and he's got some, ins, and maybe he's still operating on the wrong side of the law, but there's something more going on there, because it certainly is set up that way, and the other major, sort of like editorial flaw, and I'm sure I had this in my mind, like, I'm drawing a line in the sand because I can see stupid me doing that, is nothing from the Kingpin at all. Like, and and I know in my head it was probably like, well, we got rid of the Kingpin. We want to make sure it's clear, like, he's taken down, but there should have been some seeds of him along the way here to kind of, just,
I mean, again,
not as if he's coming back right away.
Yeah.
But something,
I thought maybe it was like a trick, like, okay, not that anyone's going to forget the Kingpin, but maybe kind of put him out of their mind for a while. Then when he does pop back up, it's like, oh yeah, the Kingpin's out here pulling crap.
Right. I'm sure that's what I was thinking. I'm sure I was like saying, I did it. I took him down, and let's show the reader
give
this
him a
isn't,
false sense of security instead.
The next issue, but he's building himself back up, which would ultimately be, what we would want from him. But to have nothing, to go from, 300 to 0, it felt like it needed a scene or two in there, where, even Leland, sort of confronting him, finding,
oh yeah,
Willie, I don't know, fishing falafel, out of a trash can or something, or hiding out in the back to stay ahead of a warrant.
That would have been that would have been an interesting scene. Just the owl threatening the Kingpin. Just be like,
that's what I mean.
Stay here, eat your trash, and don't you dare come back.
Yeah. Right,
it's all mine now. Yeah. Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
I mean, that could have been something there, and I could have seen that extending and reconfig. This is just rethinking the story, obviously years out of the fact. And then I think I could have paced the story. Then I could have paced out the owl's transformation. Over those issues a little differently, I mean, I was in nobody was saying this has to happen in 3 issues. I could have opened the story up, and instead of cramming all of the owl's flashbacks and transformations into those 3 or 4, pages in the third part of the story, I think it is, I could have seeded that out a little better, but that's, that's I'm looking at it, I guess, from that perspective, because I actually like the story, rereading it. It's like, okay, there's something here. But so now I'm saying, oh, geez, that could have been improved this way and that way and tweaked this way. But
so,
I mean, what did you go ahead?
I mean, do you think that maybe they didn't call you on an editorial, like, why didn't you get back to the owl, or why didn't you do this? Because they're like, okay, Dan knows what he's doing. He's been an editor. He's a great writer. So maybe he's purposely waiting for the right moment to bring the Kingpin back, or.
I'm sure I can almost say with certainty I would have had that kind of conversation with Ralph, to sort of say, hey, no, we took the Kingpin down. We don't want to suddenly bring him back on page 3, and he's already on the rise again, and he's going to be back by 305, and we've undone everything we did. But I think, I mean, looking at it now from an editorial point of view, that would have been something that the editor of the book should have corrected me on and said, great, that's a fine attitude, and like you just said, he could could have been the Owl or somebody else intimidating him, right? So now you're getting a whole different view of Wilson Fisk. We teased that a little bit at the end of 300. He's being intimidated by some lower level gangsters, and then of course typically beats them to death. But I mean,
well, I was going to say, I think after he caves in Jimmy the Whale's eye socket last issue,
yeah.
I don't think a lot of people are going to go intimidate him, whether he's on the street or
right,
not.
Right. But that would have sort of showed something, right? That would have showed there's a change, in status, and had people thinking about where that B-level story goes, because it's a fairly linear 3 issues in a lot of ways. It's got a couple of the digressions with Foggy and and Matt setting up the office, but there's large extended action-packed scenes when the action's good. But we spent a lot of time with, was it Nino or Nico or
Nino? Yeah.
It's like, and it's like he's just way too much time with this throwaway sort of guy.
Him and his underage dates. Yeah,
and where you're never going to see again. So there's a lot of that. That could have been better paced and better served, I think, in that way.
Well, can I tell you my favorite scene? And again, this sticks in my head to this day. Is
I want to know what you guys think of
Daredevil and Ben Urich on the roof in this first issue, and Daredevil rips the cigarette out of his mouth. He's like, smoking's bad for you, and then he leaps off the roof, and Ben Urich's like, yeah, health tips from a guy who leaps backwards off a roof. Okay,
that was one of my favorite parts too. I love that.
But that was fun. That was fun. I mean, there was a little. That was definitely good. But there's a weird editorial like moment too with Ben Urich, where there's like one panel or 2 panels where the writing suddenly shifts into Ben Urich's interior monologue, and it's kind of like there's no need for it. There's no reason for it, and it's just like it's the kind of thing that I would have expected The Office to sort of catch me on, because if you go to an extended sequence, that makes sense, and you're trying to achieve something by shifting the perspective, but it's just 1 or 2 panels, and it just feels, miscued a little bit.
Is it just because it's a scene change, or
like why they let me get away with it,
or that, or why why did you go there? Just because we go from Matt and Foggy to the next page, like the first panel.
I mean, I'm sure there was some thinking in my head. Okay, now it's Ben's scene. Give Ben the platform, but shifting perspective like that is in a book that is primarily first person. Matt Daredevil.
But Matt's not in that scene, so it's like, okay, we have to follow Ben's internal dialogue then, I guess.
Right, and is it really well established that it's Ben? I knew it was, reading it, but does it throw the reader, and just to do it for one scene, felt off. I mean, when I edited Martial Law, the Judge Dredd adjacent, sort of book by Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill, Pat had so many characters, it was like he was shifting, he was shifting characters every 2 pages, it seemed, and he had me designing or the poor letterer designing like different caption shapes, for every character. And it was just getting, I was considering printing a legend like on the inside cover, just to keep track of like, who's who, oh no, this is like, whatever, Surgeon General, this is, martial law, this is, whatever.
What was your, like timeline for bringing the Kingpin back in your mind? Do you remember? Like how long?
Or did you have one, or were you just like, let's let it ride for a while?
I mean, I think, the back of my head, I mean, and this is just, again, me conjecturing. I mean, I think, I sort of like wanted to keep him on the down low, for about a year, but I wanted to then, build him back up in a different way. I wanted to see him rising up from that street level and, not suddenly boom, like he's back in power. But that he would start to kind of run operations, and I got a chance to tease that out a little, but I let it run out. I let the leash run out too long, for too long, and so it doesn't become that effective. In your mind's eye, you're sort of looking ahead, and it's all compacted time to you. But for readers, right, that's a long time. 30 days between issues, a year out. That's a that's too long to sort of, extend things out.
I don't know. I think it would have cheapened the story if he would have been back by the end of your. I mean, I like he was back by the end of your run, but he was not at the levels he had been.
No, yeah, and that's it. Or I mean, I was starting to like really kind of get into it. By the time we got into.
He was basically like sitting in a junkyard running stuff instead of sitting in a
yeah, and he was like right. He was like he was doing a little bit of like that sort of level of criminal. Coming back, up through the ranks, as it were, and he had his couple of moments. Where he'd show up and spit on, Matt Murdock's grave and that kind of stuff.
Literally.
For giggles,
Literally, yes.
And, but
I love that. I love that towards the end when he thinks it's a new Daredevil and he's like trying to like make trying to get friendly with the new Daredevil and Matt's like,
right,
okay,
right.
Willie.
Yeah, and then but what did you think of this story, you guys? I mean, Phil, you've said it worked out well for you. Lilith, Justin, how did it track for you?
I loved it. This is my first time reading this one because I've missed a lot of Daredevil over the years, but I love this. Obviously, I love the character of the Owl, and I always found him to be. What I loved about this story the most was that it treated him more like a tragic character, which I always found him to be. Like my introduction to him was one of the appearances that you mentioned in the brief recap where it was a Spider-Man issue where he fought Dr. Octopus.
Right.
And I remember reading that and at the end of it feeling so bad for the Owl. I was like, he just wanted to be your friend, Otto.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you beating the hell up for him for? He just wanted to be your pal. Like, what's the deal? So I just felt bad for this guy. Yeah. I felt bad for this guy. And also, like, the very nature of the character is tragic in that, yes, he can fly. He's got this great power, but his legs are busted. So there's this, I don't know, it just seems there's always been like this really tragic, flawed quality to the character. And a lot of writers just kind of treated him like, just a run-of-the-mill villain. But I love how you made it more like the after effects of the serum, how he was battling with the side effects of that, and it made him a much more sympathetic, tragic character. And I loved the angle that you mentioned about, because I could see that he could possibly be a force for good. I mean, if you just kind of pushed his psychological bent about vermin and rodents towards criminals, there could be a lot of things that happen there. He would end up eviscerating them all, so that would eventually get him to trouble with somebody. But
right.
But it was an interesting concept to see. Okay, well, if things had been slightly different for him, if the circumstances had been just a little bit different, he could be a vigilante or more of a gray figure. So I really liked that. The art was good. MC Wyman's not bad. And I really liked Chris Ivy's inks with his work. I thought that was a good combination. But when I was reading this story, I kept in my mind picturing that it would have been improved if one of the two Rons was involved, and that either Ron Garney or Ron Wagner.
Right.
Either of their two styles I thought would have been perfect for the story.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we tried to get Garney, very hard,
But, I think he was doing Ghost Rider then or something, yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, he was open, and we, Ralph and I, pitched him pretty hard. I guess with the exact same language, it sounded like, because I remember talking to Ron. It's like, Ralph already said all this, and to come on the book, full, but at least we got him for that one issue that would follow this, and
yes, that's right. Yeah.
A bang up job, and obviously he would come back to Daredevil later, but I think that's a great indication of the same, I think, grounded approach and the the sense of presence that Lee represents, but in his own way, in Ron's own way,
distinctive. Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. And I loved the owlness that you returned to the character when his head turned around.
Yeah.
I loved that. I thought, oh, I love it. It's an actual, owl thing he's doing. Yeah, that made me happy. Yeah.
Anything to make the owls happy,
We felt very well represented with the story.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Lilith, how to track for you? Okay. I was curious.
No, I love a villain story. I love when it's extended because, like, heroes are only as good as their villains and how they interact with them. So I enjoyed this extended insight into the owl, and I was like, oh, okay, he's not as pathetic as the last time I saw him. That's good.
Pathetic in a different way, perhaps. Tragic, as Justin said.
And I like it gave Daredevil's different with his different villains, and this was kind of like his Barry Allen moment. He's like, "Come on, man, you don't got to be this pathetic. Maybe clean up your act. Maybe you can do something with your life." And that's always nice to see because we don't get a lot of that with Daredevil.
Yeah,
he just likes to beat the hell out of them and send them on their way.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not beyond the redemption. You're not Wilson Fisk. No, you're here.
Exactly.
Or Bullseye.
Oh, Bullseye.
Yeah.
There's this lady named Aunt May.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, exactly.
She's got a boarding house.
She puts up people like you. Yeah.
Oh, and was this? I believe this was the first appearance of the gangster Pete London.
It seems like it. Yeah, it seems like it from the the introduction. So.
I think he only used him twice, or 2 or 3 times. Yeah, because I remember he's in the Grease storyline.
He's in the Grease story, and he shows up a couple of other. He definitely shows up there, and I think he kind of comes in and out. And I was trying to, establish a crime connection, that Daredevil could, use, somebody who was obviously on the wrong side, but Daredevil wasn't going to, always have to bust right open, and there could be a certain usefulness to have those kind of contacts to play out, which again the owl could have possibly been as well. But Pete London was the name was for my grandfather, which was who was a bit of a mafioso himself. So it was that was it.
And of course you pay off the wolf thing.
We did pay off the wolf thing. Yes, we did. There was what's all these wolf things? What's going on? Oh, there's what's happening. Yeah.
We get our obligatory will they, won't they with Matt and Karen.
Yes. Well, we were still redeveloping the relationship.
Yes.
But, if I could have saved everybody time and just killed her then, I guess, so that's what you do with.
We appreciate that you didn't do that.
Long time. I appreciate that I didn't do that too. Yeah. I was still shocked when I heard that.
But you killed off Gloriana later on.
Yeah, I did. That was bad. That was a dumb moment. I don't know what I was doing there. That was a cheap moment. I'm embarrassed by that, but it felt like it was something to try to raise stakes, but it was that was not executed well.
Well, of course, it's Matt saying, "Oh, I wasn't here." Everyone thinks Matt Murdock's dead. If I had been here in my life, maybe something like this wouldn't have happened. But
yeah, but it was.
How he loves to blame himself. He loves to blame himself.
I know. I needed somebody with I needed a personal stake, and and she became quite literally a sacrificial lamb, and that's not the way to. That's a very plot-driven mindset, right? That's like moving things into place because me as the writer needs this to happen, for that to happen, and that's I don't know. It's a bad way to play the game. So, there's other aspects of that story that I could have made that story work without doing that in that way. So, it needed more establishment, not just suddenly. Somebody from my past is dead. That's if I was going to do that, you need to kind of introduce a character like that in some way, shape or form. Reestablish some stakes, and then kill her. But that's. But then it has. Then there are repercussions. There are meaning. To it. I can't remember. Right. I don't even think she shows up in the story. Really beyond just getting
really.
killed.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, you could have, she could have spotted Matt on the street and recognized, wait a minute, you're not Jack Batlin, you're Matt Murdock, you're not dead. What's going on? Reestablish something there. Suddenly Matt could have felt like, I have a confidant, for my life, to sort of relate to the fact I'm out here on my own, alone, trying to figure out what's next. And then I don't know, like it would have been integrated into the story more. So
I mean that doesn't bother me as much as Karen. The Karen.
Yeah, no. Well, I didn't kill Karen.
I know you didn't. No. That's what I'm saying. You're fine. No. Somebody else.
No.
Snoogans. Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't brought Karen back yet. Seeing as how they like their synergy with the shows and the movies and stuff.
How many years has it been now?
Oh God, that was what, like around the turn of the century. That was like 2001 or something.
The turn of the century.
The turn of the century, back in the 20th century. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, those grand total of like 6-7 issues took like 2 years because it was a Kevin Smith story. So
Touche, good sir. Touche.
Wow.
Literally, I don't think I'm lying.
Not a joke.
No, honestly, I am not exaggerating.
Well, I guess it took a while for him to make that decision.
Oh yeah, that's the excuse. Yeah, it's like we thought long and hard about killing Karen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a crisis of conscience.
But no, I mean, just rereading this, I mean, I get what you mean with the owl's look, but it's like, I know it's like the cloak is to help him fly, but it also gives him like an old, like very old school horror vibe, almost like a vampire or like a
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Right. Yeah.
Like
no, I mean, I wouldn't have said, he suddenly shows up, in a totally different costume, but I think there might have been some aspect of and I don't know what that would be, but updating it to acknowledge that, but that's what I'd said at the beginning. But I actually think I like, your interpretation, Phil, maybe better, where we would acknowledge that more, like I think leaning into it more, the old schoolness of it, the shabbiness of it, like that's a something that he could have held on to. This is my, these are my robes. This is my, at one point this meant something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that, again, in that sort of way that, somebody who was something is still going to hold on to that coat and that was the, I won this green jacket at a golf tournament, and I'm never going to, let go of it. And I think that would have played very nicely into the story. There's like a tiny little bit of that just thematically, but that could have been a nice scene, with him either with somebody else or with Daredevil or with Kingpin or, I don't know if necessarily on his own. There's a lot of on his own scenes in this, but there could have been something else, perhaps with the doctor, that he was consulting with and that sort of thing.
Mm.
And you were talking about not getting back to the owl thing. I mean, it's the Marvel universe. Eventually, J.M. DeMatteis picks that up, and they do that in that Spider-Man story where Jack Batlin, Black Armor Daredevil shows up.
But there was the owl. The owl was in that story, was it?
The owl and the vulture. No, it's like an owl and vulture team up. Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Oh,
right.
is it?
Yeah,
okay. But he did. Yeah, but there's nothing.
No.
There's no dangling threads from this story in Mark's story, right? There's nothing. He doesn't.
No. Well, again, Matt really can't say anything because supposedly he's the new Daredevil, so he really can't say anything about
Right. But there's none of like.
I think he might have thrown. I think he might have thrown out a line and be like, "Oh, hey, Murdoch, gave you a chance, or or the old Daredevil gave you a chance, or something, and look what you're doing with it, or something."
Oh, okay.
There might be like one line, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. He was under certainly no obligation or anything to, do that or explore that. But and even though I will be sitting next to him for 4 days at Richmond, I don't think I'll bring that up in conversation.
Remember this story you wrote in 1995? Yeah.
Owl.
Yeah. Remember that owl thing? What were you trying to do there?
God.
We may find other things to talk about better than that.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, when is that? When is that convention?
That's this coming week. That's
nice.
you know, if you're if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, Richmond? No, Richmond, Virginia. So it starts on Thursday and then it goes through Sunday. So it's a 4-day show. I think it starts late on Thursday, like 2, I want to say, and then it goes late. They go to like 8 o'clock Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I do not expect to be there until 8 o'clock.
I'm gonna let you know if you come by the booth.
Once it starts to flag a little bit, I think you're going to find I think everybody in
unless you bring oodles of cash, kids.
That helps, but even so, the day it's a long day.
Oh yeah.
And they take good care of us. There's no question about it. The guys run a really nice show, but when the show starts at 10, to be there till 8. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
But
yeah, no, Dan always has a lot of good stuff at his table. Can give you a nice little conversation because since Lilith and I did ambush
that's
him
right.
at one time.
And I actually, if I can arrange the table, they'll actually have a 3D printed prize wheel I put together. So it'll be
nice.
You get to spin the wheel, and
I love it.
If you land on it, then you get like I think a Daredevil tchotchke of some kind. So
that's so cool.
Fun.
Maybe even a Hellraiser one, but I don't even know. We'll see.
Very nice.
We know the conversation's probably going to lean towards Daredevil because again, that show is I think it comes out.
The conversation always leans toward Daredevil. I mean, I'm very comfortable with that and very knowledgeable with that, and I don't try to. When somebody comes in and they want to talk Five Goes West, that's a nice. But that's
I think Lilith almost fell out of her chair.
Something I would do.
But I am, it's you know where the conversation is going to go. That's the biggest thing on the poster behind me. It's all very strategically oriented for know what your audience is looking for.
Or like, hey, Terror issue 10 page 6, what were you thinking here?
right Well, if people see there is a special prize pack when people mention Terror. There is a special when the people come up and they say, what, I really love that book Terror. It's like I should almost have like a gong to ring because there is a special prize pack.
The lights come down.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's like the fireworks go off and it's they get a little special something.
Oh wow.
I'm still putting it out into the universe that one day we'll see a Terror epic collection.
No, that would be something. I don't know if that'll happen in this universe, but that would be. I would greatly enjoy that, but I am. What I just saw was pretty cool. Klaus Janson, who co-created the character in the Shadowline with me and Margaret Clark. He has a gallery show right now in New York, which is pretty impressive from what I could see, and I'm going to go see it. I think on the 28th. But he did a cover for Spider-Man 2099. I guess it was a variant.
Oh.
And because Terror, a future Terror, is actually in there. He did a pretty killer, Terror illustration, for that variant cover, which was it was great to see, him doing it. Again. Awesome. So that must have just been driven by the editor, who I know is a big fan.
Very cool.
See, you talk about the Owl. That's the one character I was disappointed you never loop back around to when they, like Terror tells Daredevil he owes him a favor. I was waiting for that to get paid off.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know what mental.
Next time Marvel gives me a shot.
The mental quirk of like either setting up like a bunch of cool characters and then immediately killing them off, or setting up these little dangling things and then not paying them off. But you also sort of sometimes think you're going to be there.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's like I'll do this next year. I'll do this like in, I'll do this in 6 months or whatever else. And
you pulled a Chris Claremont. You're like, I'll get to that in 3 years.
Yeah. Or I'll never get to it. Look, here it's the Brood. Oh no, they're not. We're going to do another story next issue instead.
The Hellfire Club's doing something. 2 years from now. We'll talk about that.
Exactly.
All right. Trying to think. Did we hit everything here?
the owl questions. It's like.
Oh man, that last cover 303, man. The owl even gets his own little logo there. That's
Yeah, I love that.
I know they really worked out there. No, it's great covers. They did a nice job, with it. And again, rereading it, I think the story, sort of holds its water there. But for the most part, which I was again a little bit surprised because I remember being, thinking, didn't quite stick the landing. But I think it does. It just doesn't, I wish I'd gone back, or had rather picked up on the things I'd set up there and done more, with the owl, as a something, either as that vigilante-ish, twisted vigilante, as you were sort of saying, Lilith, or, even the financial aspect, could have been something, could Daredevil have put him to work, or look for his advice, because Leland Owlsley is like this financial manipulator and genius, could he have undermined certain things or helped finance good things? That could have been, a way to play the character's redemption, in a way.
Or he could even shown up in that big group during Dead Man's Hand.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, that was right. Dead Man's Hand was sort of like
I think if anywhere, that's where I was expecting him. Yeah.
The next part of this, right? Here's the one guy who was trying to fill the gap. Then you had all those guys trying to fill the gap. But
have him and Tombstone battling out for the Kingpins,
right. Woke up out of a dead sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have one last question. This is the most important question on the creative side. Did you run any of this past Greg Wright?
Did I run any of this past Greg Wright? No. At that point, no, I did not. I didn't feel the need to run everything past Greg. So no, I mean, Greg was off plenty busy with his own creative worlds, whatever it was at that point, Sable or Deathlock, or
I think it was Sable,
both or other things. So he had plenty of things. I mean, we'd read each other's work and sometimes, comment on stuff, but not at a, gut check this for me.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how often you guys swap stuff to proofread or, just for.
No, not so much there, because I think we had, we generally had good editors, and so there wasn't that feeling of it now. And, now I do it more just as a I don't know, reality check. I just want to, make sure I'm not missing anything, and he's happy to do it. So if that's the case, then I'll take him up on it. But at that point, it was more, I read this and that's pretty cool what you did there. Or when we'd collaborate on things, like the Sable Terror Luke Cage thing with with Mark McLaurin, and then that was literally. Then we would read each other's stuff, and then we would, I think we exchanged all those plots and all that stuff just to make sure we were leaving each other in a good place, and nobody felt like somebody was misaligned with the other's character.
That is the conversation. I would want to be a fly on the wall during those meetings. Be like, does the sex god seem believable here?
Yeah, that was definitely. I told Clive, he was to blame for those issues, and it was, you're just you're a bad influence or good influence on all of us, and we just thought it perfectly, perfectly normal to have this ancient, sex god named after a phallus, just being the, and nobody noticed it until Bob Budiansky, so what are you guys doing here exactly? Well,
they told me not to get too violent. So where else did you want me to go?
Way down the line at that point. So, but yeah, that went through a lot of different, editorial eyes. The only one who could, the Marcus could let it go because he's editing it. He's editing Terror at the same time. But the other ones, were independent editors. So the fact they didn't pick up on anything is just strange. But it's actually a good story if you overlook that little strange thing.
No, it is. Yeah. And again, you guys all, it's a very smooth story. It's 3 different writers. You could have issues, but no,
No, that was a good passing off, of things here. But
yeah,
we're all professional. All right. Any other questions for this man?
I think we covered it all. Yeah,
we've run through the owl's nest and back again. We're all good.
Yes.
Who has any more questions?
Exactly. There you go.
I believe you mean whom.
Oh, you're one of those. Okay. Damn it, Lilith. All right. So next time, I was thinking, because I know Justin and I were talking about doing certain things from a certain line, but I'd say we talk about a story Dan did in the new universe from Justice number 12.
Oh,
my God.
Yeah.
Javistus. Yeah.
Javistus.
I always called it Javistus,
That's what they call them in the old country.
That's exactly it. That logo drove her mad. So and yeah, that'll be fun. I think it's a pretty, the backstory on that one's slightly interesting, but
It'll be a new one for me. I haven't read it yet, so.
Okay. I wish I still had I wish I still had the new. Well, I wish I had a lot of things. I wish I still had the New Universe Bible, because that would, Archie's backstory, and set up for that whole thing was pretty cool. But we will approach it as we can.
All right.
Excellent. Okay, sounds good.
All right. We mentioned the one con appearance. Is there any other appearances?
There'll be 4 more after that. I don't have all the dates, but if you're a GalaxyCon, fan, in amongst between now and July, I think, there's Raleigh, there's Oklahoma City, there's New Orleans, and there's Nashville. So whenever those are on the map, I'll be there. And probably pretty exhausted by the time that's done, because I think a couple of them are almost the same week, like back to back. So that's gonna be tricky. But they're all fun. GalaxyCon always does a great show, and they treat people very nicely, both fans and creators and such. So always happy to kind of do that.
So follow this man on social media.
Yeah. And we'll see how well the prize wheel works out, and if it works out, it will make a repeat appearance. If it breaks halfway through, then it'll be left in pieces in Richmond. I'll never mention it again. It shall never be spoken of
You'll have
again.
to come back and edit this, Phil.
But full credit to Tana Ford, who inspired the idea, because I've often had a chance to sit near or next to her at conventions, and she does a great gimmick with D&D dice. Which I always think is like a fun thing, so people can roll, and if they get a perfect, roll, they win one of her prints or something like that. And
cool.
So I always thought that was a cool gimmick, and so try to emulate that just to get a little more activity, around, people kind of going by, and we'll see how it works, or if it just clutters up the table more. You get a full report. Watch me on social toward the end of the week. We'll see how it looks and how it plays out.
And go pick up Street Riders. If you're watching this.
Yes.
There's your
by
QR
all means.
code.
Yeah. It's I think I made enough to buy a pizza last year off it. But I think I've actually had some diverse people read it, and at this point, and I think that it. There is some fun, good advice, I think, for writers in there. So, some good balance of things. But if you've read it, Justin, I know you've read it, or at least parts of it.
I enjoyed it very much.
Well, jump on Amazon and give me a review, an honest one.
Oh yeah. I'm hardly ever on Amazon these days, but I will do that for sure. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, excellent. All right.
The ego on this man, but damn, he has great advice in this book. Go pick it up.
Absolutely.
All right, Justice, it shall be, and we will. I'll see you guys in a month or so.
Yes.
And we'll figure out the date soon enough.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Have a lovely
you.
rest of the evening. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Oh, what a surprise, Lil. Dan was hard on himself.
Exactly. And breaking news, water makes things wet.
So there's one Daredevil episode. Next time we're going to cover some of the first few issues, which
Silver Age.
Yes.
Craziness.
Issue 1, of course. Then we'll cover issue 3, which was the first appearance of the Owl.
Yeah, that's right.
Issue 4, the first appearance of the Purple Man.
Oh.
Oh. Issue 6, I believe, is the first appearance of Mr. Fear.
Oh, right. Nice.
And of course, we got to do issue 7. I know we did it already, Lil, but we got to do it with the Owl. The name war issue. Yes.
Biscuit of the Sea. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Who does the art in that?
Oh, is that still Wally Wood, or did we get
Gene Colan?
Oh, I don't think Gene Colan was that early, was he?
Well, stay tuned. You'll find out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, there's your cliffhanger, kids. Who did that
And
art?
if you, I was gonna say, get a no prize if you can send in that information before we.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, before Wednesday.
Early, yeah. So, who drew that early Namor?
Seacock.
Oh, and also, listeners, go on that YouTube because we're so close to the milestone.
Yes.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. What are we up to now, Phil?
953.
53. We're so close.
We're even close.
We're even 959. I'd be happy.
I was gonna say we're even closer to 969. Oh my God, that's once we hit 969, we should just put up that video of Lilith like.
Exactly. We did it.
No, then you get to 1069, Lilith. Come on.
Okay, true. Fair enough.
Come on, Lilith, pretend the date. Be like, that's fine. 9's fine, but give me the 10. Okay.
We gotta get to 1069 by 10:06. So let's go. Let's get it.
Yes.
Oh my.
Synchronicity.
She needs 10, kids. 9 ain't gonna do it. If you could just get her 10.
Yes, Daddy.
All right. So yes, it will be the three of us next time. Like we said, we'll do some Silver Age Daredevil, which is a whole thing in itself.
Yeah, it's a wild trip.
The hairstyles, everything. It's just good. All right. So send us your thoughts. Send me your thoughts and questions, or what you thought about this Chichester story. Javustus next time. Never not going to hear that now.
I love that so much.
No. All right, so send us your thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And again, when you start sending in feedback, you could win yourself a Professor Prize. I just sent one out today to Daniel Collins, who sent us a bunch of feedback for our Transformers episodes. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Love it.
Even Ray was messaging me and Justin about the Transformers episodes. I wanted to be like, no, you already got your prize.
Yeah.
And again, you can find us on pretty much all social media. Wherever you hang out on social media, you should be able to find us, Capes and Lunatics. Help support us by buying merch at TeePublic in spring. I'm still going to upload everyone's logos. Thank you for using your logo there, Lilith.
Yeah, I do.
I gotta switch mine to the new one, don't I? Yeah. I keep forgetting to do that.
Lilith loves
But
tentacles.
Phil made me this other one, so it's
Yes.
still counts.
Lilith loves tentacles.
That's the on brand, man.
And of course, you should just rain the money on us through the Cash App link. Make Lilith happy. Just rain that money.
We need the money. Gimme.
And of course, the Patreon, where again you get exclusive, uncensored content. At least one every month. And again, now you get all of our episodes early. You would have gotten this episode early if you subscribe to the Patreon. So
Exclusive.
that's right. And again, the biggest value for your money is when you subscribe, you can suggest topics for us to talk about. So the only safe way to tell Lilith Hellfire what to do, So, rain that money in. Yes, tell her what to do.
Shut up, Phil.
Go subscribe right now. Patreon.com/CapesandLunatics.
Fucking crazy.
Oh, and yes, we will be covering the Daredevil. We'll do a live watch of the Daredevil Born Again Season 2 premiere. Should be Lilith Hellfire. Should be right here somewhere.
All right, yeah.
I can put it right up here on the screen, Lilith.
Yep.
All right.
Live reactions.
Get that live. What the F?
Yeah.
Just me falling asleep.
Commenting.
Oh, it's going to be slow and boring to start.
Oh, my.
Just a feeling.
Commenting on the Kingpin.
Bigger boobies.
Exactly. Put your Hawaiian shirt back on.
Oh.
Look at that. Oh, my God.
All right. And, of course, yes, if you can't get enough owl, and nobody can, it's too much owl. You can
The other owl.
That's right. You can catch it. Yes.
Non-Leland Owlsley owl.
This owl, yes. You can catch him on the lot.
Christopher Priest Owlsley.
You can catch this owl, Justin the Owl, in the Lost Library of Legends.
Yes, and Phil and I just recorded some episodes for a future project. And after we record, I'll have to ask Lilith if she'd like to join me as well for a few episodes of that.
The one
that will be coming
the one
coming
Lilith
later this year.
The one Lilith caught a glimpse of the last time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yes, remember, kids.
We're going back to the 90s here, bitch.
That's right.
Early 90s, yeah.
Yep.
And again, go help support Kristen. Go pick up Dick Grayson Boy Wonder on Amazon. Not only will you learn something about the character, but again, yes, you do. It does help. Your support does help support an educator, Kristen. And if you're missing her on like this episode and our next Daredevil episode, never fear. We are recording a Nightwing episode here soon. So
Nightwing news update.
New issues.
Get your cake update.
Nothing but Nightwing.
And you can find me all over social media at PodfatherPhil. Goodbye the t-shirt. All right, kids. Thank you for joining us for another Chichester Chat next month. Javastis and next episode, Silver Age Daredevil. All right, so you guys come back for more Daredevil. Until then, keep it horny.